Hello, this is Steve Palladino from Palladino Power Project, and I'm bringing you another video on using the SuperPower Calculator to figure um, uh, motorized treadmill conversion. And an example of a runner who who is using a wind pod, so Stryd wind pod that records air power. Um, and because air power is reported outdoors, but is not reported on the treadmill, um, trying to run to the same power target that you would use outside and try to do that the same power target on the treadmill is not going to work because you're not getting that additional air power added into the total reported power. So you've got to do some conversions. And the options are either you are going to reduce your critical power and that use that reduced, that corrected a critical power for figuring your power targets, on the treadmill, maybe as a percentage of your adjusted critical power. Or the other alternative is to increase the weight setting to account for the loss of the air power reporting. That way, you can use the same critical power that you use outdoors, the same power targets that you use outdoors on the treadmill if you correct the weight setting. So that would mean the athlete would have one weight setting for outdoors, one weight setting for when they're on the treadmill. Um, I used to do the correct the CP method back when, um, and adjust all the power targets. So athletes would have treadmill power targets and outdoor power targets that were different. Um, Now I don't do that. I give the athlete the two different weight settings. If you're running this workout outdoors, you use this weight setting. If you're running this workout indoors, you use this alternative weight setting, the treadmill weight setting, and you run to the same exact targets. The good thing about this is that your training load metrics are going to be more valid because they're based on one critical power number, and you're simply adjusting the weight to account for that air power. So to me, adjusting the weight is the logical way to go. Anyway, let's get into some of the information here. So that the runner sent some testing, one from April, 10-second max and a 2-minute max, one from December of last year, which is quite a ways back, and one from April 13th. So to this runner, yeah, you need to do more frequent testing. But that said, we're not looking for if we're doing the weight corrected weight setting approach. It's the age of the data, the test data is not as critical. If you're doing a corrected CP, then you want to do the corrections based on the most recent test data possible. So here's he gave us a 10 second and 2-minute, a 20-minute, and a 10-minute. This 10-second, 2-minute, the 10-second I'm not going to use at all. The 2-minute, I highlighted it, and here's what I noticed. He's running along the shoreline where there's going to be less wind protection, and in one direction where you could, he's possibly running into a headwind. The bottom line is Air power is 17%. So to me, this is an outlier and completely not usable piece of data. So let's get rid of that piece. The 10-minute tests, or the 20-minute tests and 10-minute tests, I highlighted those. This one was done on a track. The 20-minute test was done on a track and yielded 8% air power for the 20 minutes and 4 seconds and 350 watts. The 10-minute test was also done on a track, yielded 8% air power as well for 363 watts in 10 minutes and 13 seconds. So what I do is I take that data and I'm going to, I asked the athlete for their Stryd weight setting, and it's fantastic. He had kept his weight setting constant, fixed throughout all these tests, and the weight setting was 65 kilograms. That's important in the SuperPower Calculator when you are doing what I prefer to do is use the adjust the weight setting technique for treadmill. So what I do is I come to this particular calculator, which is calculate FTP and reserve work capacity from a CP test. You can also use this one down here, either one of these, but I'm using this one right now. And basically what I'm doing is I put the athlete's Stryd weight setting in, and I'll come over to the activities page, and all I did was put in the results of the 10-minute test here, which is 363 for 10 minutes and 13 seconds. And the 20-minute test, which is 350 for 20 minutes and 4 seconds. So you can see I've entered that. Plus what I've done is on this page, there is a scroll bar that allows you to put other optional entry fields. And what I did is I just scrolled over to where I enter the air power. Notice I can toggle and put the watts, which I do for when I have athletes where I know the watts from WKO because I have that particular data field to work with. But in the Stryd Power Center, you have percent of the air power, the percent of the total power, and in this case it was 8% for both of these. So I put that in and I come back to the main calculator and I look at the outcomes, and basically and again I'm going to go back here. These are not the best for putting in to a CP entry. It'd be better if you did a CP test and got the more current information for not only power duration, but also the air power. But I'm using this because this is what he sent me. This is all he had available. And this is what I'm using. Would I prefer to have a 10 and 20 minute entry? No, I'd rather have a 3 and 12, 315 or 320 would all be good. But that said, this is what I have to work with. So notice that with this particular calculator in the SuperPower Calculator, we have reported estimated critical power of 336 watts from that data. I'm not saying that's what his critical power was, but that's what the data suggests, that particular data set. But notice also what it does, because I input the air power component. Because I put this in here, it also calculates the PRC, which is the running power minus air power. So what would be his critical power without the air power reported, and it looks like it's 309.595, essentially 310 watts. So option number one is to use a reduced critical power on the treadmill and calculate all your power targets based on that. So 310 would be his treadmill CP, 336 or 337 would be his outdoor CP, outdoor, indoor, with air power, without air power. All right. So that's option one, and that's the way I used to do it. But you can also take these numbers and do the maths. So 336.516 divided by 309.595. That gives you a correction. And basically, when running on a treadmill, he'd need to have his weight setting at about 71 kilograms. 70 might do, but 70 to 71 kilograms was going to give him nearly identical power reporting at same effort level as a 65 kilogram weight setting outdoors. So it's adjusting weight setting, so your power is being reported a little bit higher, but because there's no air power, it comes out in the wash and it's equivalent. So 70 to 71 kilograms on the treadmill equals 65 kilograms outside. Again, for this runner and for this sampling of test data. But that would be the starting point. And now if you had a more recent CP test, then you could plug that data in here and read this off. So my advice to this athlete, based solely on the data that I was provided, would be to use a 65 kilogram weight setting for all the outdoor running, and on his brand new motorized treadmill, use a weight setting of 70 to 71 kilograms. Just pick one of those and run with it. That's going to give you pretty close power numbers. So that if you're used to set a CP that's established outdoors and you're doing, say, let's say you're doing intervals at 102% of CP, with this weight setting, you can still use the same exact power numbers that you use outside. So there you have it. Hopefully this helps. There are a couple of other videos. I will put them in the description area of this video. I'll provide those links so that we're keeping all these treadmill related topics together. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.